everybody, my name is Samantha. If you're not familiar with my videos, I do a wide variety of videos for top dog tips, from how-to videos to product reviews, as well as product comparisons and some recipes. So if you guys are interested in something that you can't find on the site, make sure you send it my way. Today I'm here to talk to you about how to train your dog, and we're talking about basic commands: sit, stay, and come when they're called. So some things that you would want to keep in mind when you're training down, Sadie. You want to stay calm and you want to be patient. Your dog is going to pick up on any anger or any frustration. If you start getting frustrated with the training, your dog's going to pick up on that, and it's going to be harder for him to do what he's supposed to do when he's reading your frustrated emotions. So you want to stay calm, you want to be patient. Remember, Noah's Ark wasn't built in a day, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your dog is not going to be trained in a day. So you need to be very patient. This is going to take a lot of time, a lot of hours, but it is going to pay off in the long run when you have a well-behaved dog that you can be proud of. So stay calm, be patient. Let your dog expel some energy before you do a training session. This is particularly important for puppies. If you've adopted an adult dog, it may not be as particularly important, but if you have a dog that's a little bit more hyper, that has a lot of energy, you want to make sure that he's able to expel that, play fetch, go for a walk, something before your training session so that he can be calm and he can be focused. You can't expect a dog to learn and be patient and focused when he has all that energy pent up. You can't come home from work and expect for your dog to come out after being alone in the house all day long and want to do a training session. It's not going to happen. So you have to be realistic about what you're doing as well. And one of those things is to remember that your dog needs to have some time to burn excessive energy. Poor Sadie, she can see me holding this bag of treats. The other thing you want to do is use a treat or a tool that motivates your dog. Sadie is a lab, a traditional lab. She's extremely food motivated. Some dogs are really motivated by squeaky toys. Whatever you have that's going to really motivate your dog to want to do his job. Treats are a number one go-to for most pet parents, and use a treat that your dog loves. If he's not a big biscuit fan, don't use biscuits. Use jerky treats. Break them into small pieces. Use small dehydrated treats, something like that. So I've got some of Sadie's favorite biscuits here, and we are going to go ahead and try sit first. Now what you want to do when you're teaching your dog to sit, come on, Sadie. You want this? Yeah, you got to get up for it. Come here. So what you want to do first is, whoops, Sadie's going to go right into it. So the first thing that you're going to do, I'll explain it a little bit and then I'll show you with Sadie really quickly so you can see how it works. You're going to hold out the treat so that your dog can see it, smell it. You can put it in your hand, but close your hand so your dog can smell that treat in there. And then you're going to put your hand up like this and say, sit. Sadie, sit. Sit. Nope, sit. By raising it over their head, you're encouraging that motion. You're encouraging them to pick their head up and drop there behind. So you want to do that. As soon as your dog's butt hits the ground, you want to encourage it with a good girl or a good boy, some kind of a key word that they know that means that they've done what they're supposed to do. And what you're doing here is you're trying to prevent a lot of owners, one of the biggest mistakes with sit is that their dog will sit and then they hold the treat out like this and the dog stands up to get the treat. So you're sitting and immediately standing back up, and that's a very bad habit that you could create very quickly by doing that. So you don't want to do that. You want to, come here, Sadie. Sadie's a good girl. Come here. Nope. You're not just going to do it and get your teeth. Come here. I know. Okay. Sit. Good girl. And treat immediately so that your dog knows that that sitting action, that's what you're looking for. You want the sit. You want the butt on the ground, and you want them to stay there. If your dog immediately pops up, you can have the treat in your hand, and when your dog pops up, do the same thing again. Sit. Good girl. And keep doing that until your dog realizes that it's the butt on the ground that you're looking for, not just the butt up, the butt down and then right back up. So you want to stay away from treating out away from the dog or treating down lower, because he's more than likely going to get it. Sadie's very well trained, obviously, you can tell that. So your dog, if it's a puppy or a dog that doesn't know the sit command, is going to probably immediately get up and try and reach for that treat. That's not what you want. You want your dog to sit and understand sit. So go through that motion, and after you do it with a treat numerous times and your dog has figured out that he gets a treat every time, come here, Sadie. Then you do the same hand motion, sit. See, her head is going up and her butt's going down. So that's what you want them to realize, that the head goes up, the butt goes down. Now this is a type of a hand signal. You're putting your hand up so that they're going up and down. And you want to get away from that. So after a little while, once your dog gets that he knows sit is what you're after, come on, Sadie. Then you can try it, sit. You can try just the hand command. At first, it's not going to be easy because Sadie's well trained. It's easy for her. But what you might want to do is just wait a minute. So you say sit. If the dog doesn't respond, then you do the hand signal. And you kind of gradually, no. You gradually back away from that hand signal until your dog is only responding to the voice command of sit. And the other thing that you want to do is gradually back off the treat. So as you're backing away from the hand signal, start out by using a treat every other time, every third time, and then get to sporadically where you do a treat and then you go 2 or 3 times and you don't use a treat and then you use a treat again, so that your dog doesn't understand, or your dog doesn't begin to expect that every single time he sits he's going to get a treat, because you don't want that either. You want him to get used to hearing the voice command sit and sitting on command, not getting used to doing it for a treat only, and if he doesn't get a treat, he's not going to do what you want, or getting used to that hand signal. So you want to quickly back off from the hand signal. Once your dog once he gets the gist of sitting down, and that's what you're expecting, you want to start gradually weaning off the hand signal. At the same time, you're also gradually weaning off the treats. So you're doing this for maybe 10 minutes a day at first, 10 minutes in increments at first, but you're doing it multiple times a day. So 3 or 4 times throughout the day you're working on sit, and you need to do this every day. This needs to be something that you're focused on, and this is all training, not just command training, not just training for sit. It's something that you need to do very consistently at first, because if you don't, as the days say that you do it on Saturday, you work on Saturday and you go to work all week and then you try it the next Saturday, your dog has now lost all that knowledge that he learned the previous Saturday. So you want to carry that through. Continue that day after day. And I know that it's hard. I understand with working parents, it can be very difficult to do that, but it needs to be something that you schedule time every day, multiple times a day, to work on a certain command, and you want to work on one command at a time. So right now, we are working on sit. As you can tell, Sadie clearly knows sit. We've worked on that with her. So now we're going to progress on and work on the next common command, which is stay. But you want to make sure that your dog knows sit, he sits without a hand command, and he sits verbally with your just your verbal cue of sit, and he's not doing it with a treat every single time. Once you've gotten to that point, you can now work on staying, because your dog has learned sit, he has that comprehension and that understanding, and now you can move on to the next thing. If you try and do sit and stay and come all at the same time, your dog's gonna have too much information, it's an overload of information, and it's confusing which command to do at which time. So start with sit, focus on sit, get that worked out. Now we'll move on to stay. Okay, so your dog knows how to sit. Now we're gonna work on stay, and you're gonna start with the treats again. Training is something that you want to motivate your dog to work through the training. So treats again, pretty much any type of training, you're gonna wanna have treats with you. So hey Sadie, you want these? Come here, Sadie. Good girl. Good girl. Sadie, sit. And then you're going to do stay, and you want to be right in front of your dog. Stay. You're using that voice cue. You want your dog to understand that command. Stay. Good girl, Sadie. Good girl, stay. Now Sadie knows what she's doing, so she's staying. Your dog may be up and down. Do not treat unless your dog stays. So sit and immediately, good girl with a treat. And if she stays for even 1 second, another good girl and a treat. You're going to be very, very gradual in this, because you've just learned sit. Your dog understands sit. Sadie. You want now to move on and add staying to that repertoire. You're not just teaching stay. You're teaching sitting and staying in one spot, or you can do lay down and stay in one spot if that's what you want to do. Our dogs do sit and stay. Some people do lay down and stay, but that's your own personal preference. So sit and stay, and you want to start with those, like I said, just 1 second increments, so your dog learns that keeping his butt on the ground and standing there is what's making you happy. The other thing you want to do is make eye contact, which I have my sunglasses on right now, but Sadie is looking at me. You want to make eye contact with your dog. And the more that you can make eye contact with your dog, that is a sign to your dog that he needs to focus on you at that time. So you're making eye contact, your dog's staying. You're starting at 1 second increments. Good girl. Lots of praise, lots of treats. Your dog's learning. And you're slowly building up. Then 2 seconds and 3 seconds. Eventually your dog will stay for 5 seconds. And if your dog can stay for 5 seconds, then you can start building into bigger increments. And you can go up to 10 seconds. If your dog will sit and stay with you right here for 10 seconds, you can build on. So come here, Sadie. Sadie, come. You want this? You gotta come get it. Come here. Sadie, come here. And you're lazy today. Sit. Sadie, stay. Stay. And you're just gonna back up 1 step. Stay. Stay. Good girl. Good girl, Sadie. Good stay. Good stay. Whoops. Sadie, stay. You want to keep making that command of stay so that your dog's learning that that's the word that you are using as a command. Sadie, stay. Good girl. And again, when you back up a step, you're doing that 1 second increments, 2 second increments, 5 second increments. When your dog can do it for 10 seconds when you're 1 step away, try it again. Back up again. Sadie, stay. Sadie, good girl. You're making eye contact. You're talking to her, keeping her focused. Sadie, nope. Sadie, sit. Sadie, stay. Stay. Good girl. No. Nope. Sadie, sit. Sadie, stay. Good girl, Sadie. Now, if your dog 2 steps back is too far, you want to start all over from the beginning. So you're going to get back close. Good girl. You don't need to go as slow this time, but back up again. Sadie, stay. Good girl, Sadie. That's a good girl. Good stay. Good stay. You want another one? Sadie, stay. Good girl, Sadie. Good girl, Sadie. That's a good stay. Good girl. Good girl, Sadie. Good girl. Now, the further you back up, obviously, you're going to end up getting quite a ways away from your dog, and that's a good thing. Once you've built up enough of a distance, then you want to move on to duration. So you're going to be, instead of these quick, good girls and stay, and you can wait longer. Maybe you're going to wait 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever you want. Obviously, you're not going to wait a half an hour, but if you want to wait a minute, you stand, and then you good girl, and you keep building the duration after you've built the distance. So that's what you're doing then. The other thing that you can do, once your dog gets really good at staying and you can build up that distance, then you can start doing distractions. So if you have other pets, you can let the pets out. Maybe you can take your dog to another location and try it there at the dog park or in a public place so that there's maybe people or other distractions. And you're building up the distance, then the duration, then you're going with the distractions. You don't want to throw it all at your dog at once, or again, it's too much. It's overstimulating. It's too much information, and your dog's not going to grasp that. So you can do that. The other thing that you can do is make your own distractions. Sadie loves squeaky toys, so you could always get a squeaky toy, stand back, tell your dog to stay, squeak the squeaky toy. If they come at you, then that's a no, and you go back to where you were before, and you keep doing that and squeak the squeaky toy so that they realize that their job is to listen to your command, your stay command. Squeaky toys can't distract them. Other pets, other people can't distract them. And the other thing that you can do, once your dog gets that stay command built up, is you can try and turn around. You can try and walk in an area instead of backing up in a straight line, keeping that eye contact. Then you can start adding other variables in, and you can move around, break the eye contact, that kind of stuff, so that your dog knows that when you say stay, you mean stay. You don't mean stay if I'm looking at you, stay if there's no other distractions. You mean stay. No matter what, their job is to stay. So that is teaching your dog how to stay, and now we can move on to teaching your dog how to come when he's called. Teaching your dog to come when called is probably the first thing that most pet parents want to do when they get a new puppy, and that's absolutely a great thing to do. Teaching your dog his name and to learn his name and to come when you call him is a very important thing. When you first bring a dog home, whether it's an adult dog or a puppy, if it's an adult dog and you don't know his name, so you're renaming, you want to use that name as much as possible so that they're learning that when you're talking to them, you're using that name. When Sadie was a puppy, it was everything that we said to her, whether it was no, it was no, Sadie. When you say come, come, Sadie. When you are playing with the dog, petting the dog, go get it, Sadie. You want to use the name after everything as much as you can. Make it redundant. Say it all the time so your dog is used to hearing that name and they'll learn that name. So of course, Sadie is a year old. She of course knows her name. But to teach your dog to come when you call, there are a couple of ways that you can do it. And one of those ways is to do it with another person. You can have two people, say, for example, your spouse or another adult or older child in your household, and you're going to get on one end, the dog's going to get on the other side. Now, this is probably best done in the house at first because there's so many distractions outside. You could do it in a long hallway. You can do it outside if your dog's not as easily distracted as most. Now, you're going to be on one side. The other person's going to be on the other side. If you have treats, you both want to make sure that you have treats. You don't want one person to have something that the other doesn't, because then the dog is going to be confused with that, or a toy or things like that. You want to both have the same things. I highly recommend nobody have anything. The reward you want to give for this is going to be praise. So you're going to get down on the dog's level, and you're going to tell your dog, come when you're called. So come here, Sadie. And if the dog comes to you, that's when you reward with praise. Good girl, good girl. When you're done, then you have the other person call. Now, what's going to end up happening often is that the dog's going to be, you're there, you're petting, you're loving. No, you're not having any more treats. You're there, you're petting, you're showing affection and loving the dog. She's not going to want to leave if I'm doing that. But you need to take your hands off the dog and let the other person call. And you're not distracting the dog in any way to begin with, because that's what's going to be the hardest thing for the dog, is the distractions. So you're good girl, you do your affection, and then you're all done. And you don't talk to the dog, and you don't touch the dog anymore. And the other person calls. And often what you're going to find is the dog's going to turn around and look at that person. Now, if you're lucky, he may take off and run for that person, and that's going to be great because it's going to be positive reinforcement when he gets there, and he's going to figure it out much quicker. Normally, they look at the other person and they kind of have to think about it a little bit because they've just gotten attention and praise here. Do I really want to leave here? Okay, I will, and they'll go. So the other person needs to continue, or you, if it's your turn, you continue calling the dog in a very happy, very upbeat voice, encouraging the dog to come to you until he gets there, and then you do the praise. And after a little while of that, your dog is going to be able to figure that out. He's going to realize that what you want is for him to come when he's called. So that's the best thing you can do. The other thing that you can do is, if you've already done the sit and the stay, then you can work on having your dog come when they're called. Again, typically having your dog come when his name is called is something that you teach first, because that's something that you want when your dog very first comes home. But what you could do is have your dog sit. I can do it with Sadie. Come here, Sadie. Sadie. Sadie, sit. Stay. So Sadie knows sit, Sadie knows stay. Stay. Good girl. Stay right there. Now when I back far enough away, no. Nope. Sadie, come. Stay. Stay right there. No. Sit. Good girl. Stay. Okay, come, Sadie. Come, Sadie. Good girl. Good girl, Sadie. Good girl. So you're giving your dog encouragement as they're coming towards you. You want your dog to know that it's coming this way is what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. So you're encouraging the whole way over. If you do it with just one person, you can absolutely do it with treats, because then the dog doesn't have anything to compete with. But again, you have to teach the sit and the stay first. So that's a little bit more difficult. And if your dog is easily distracted, start inside, move outside. If you don't have any other adults or older children in your home, you can do this by yourself. Teach that sit command first, and then go ahead and try and teach the come when you're called. Or if you have another person, the two-way, it's really, that's the easiest way to do it, because your dog is getting it not just from you, but they're getting it from both ends, back and forth. The bugs here in Maine are terrible this time of year. So the two-person is really the best bet, but certainly if you're by yourself and you don't have a helper, you can absolutely still teach come when you're called. But the two-person is the best. Then your dog is getting it on both sides, that coming to the person that's calling their name is what they are supposed to be doing. So if you guys have any questions on teaching your dog to sit, teaching your dog to stay, or teaching your dog to come when they're called, don't hesitate to ask. I would be happy to give you guys any pointers or show you anything else. And if you have any other how-to videos, any recipes, any product reviews or comparisons that you want to see, by all means, send that my way, and I will see what I can do about that. You can email me, Samantha at topdogtips.com. You can also find all my contact information on our website, which is topdogtips.com. You can send us a message through social media. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and Instagram. So if you send messages or comments through any social media platform, those will all get back to me as well, and I will contact you and be happy to help you with anything or answer any of your questions. I'd also be happy to try and get any videos that you want to see up on the site to benefit you, because odds are if there's something that you want to see, there are other dog owners out there who have been looking for the same type of video. So let me know, guys. This was how to train your dog, those basic commands, and I will be back. This is actually going to be the first of a series of how to train your dog videos, so I'll be back next week with some more dog training tips for you. Have a great day.